few minutes. Welcome, welcome. As we have people signing in, just want to let you know that we are going to mute everyone as they enter.
You do know that Purdue is on tonight.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. All right, so while we wait for others to join us in just a few minutes, if you could type a couple of things into the chat. Where are you calling in from? What was your degree in? And is this your first time attending Cocktails and Conversations? And just as a reminder, I think we're getting a little bit of feedback, so please keep your computer muted until we get started. Okay. And we will get started here in just a few moments. So again, go ahead and put into the chat where you're calling in from. What was your degree in when you were here at Purdue? And is this your first time attending Cocktails and Conversations? And thank you to those who put this in there. Great, we do have some first timers. Detroit, Pendleton, Indiana, Indianapolis, Milwaukee, West Lafayette, Mesa, Arizona. Nice. Orange County, California, East Hampton, New York, Greenwood, Indiana. Got a Wisconsin, Alexandria, Virginia, Columbus, Indiana, Zanesville, Ohio. We are all over coast to coast. This is great. And if you've already put in where you're from, so here's another something to ponder. What made you decide to attend today's session? Was it the speaker topic? Is it that you're interested in entrepreneurialism? Is it that you're thinking about getting more involved? So what made you want to attend today? So just as reminders, as you're putting those responses into chat, we are muting everyone upon their attendance. And if you need assistance with any technical issues, you can put that into the chat button at the bottom of your screen. And please note that we are recording tonight's session so that if there are others that you know would enjoy this session, we do make these available to everyone after the session is recorded. And we will have some time for Q&A tonight. So we will also be taking our Q&A through the chat, and then I'll be moderating that session with Q&A at the end of the session. Okay, we've got some great responses to why someone wanted to join tonight. So this is fantastic. Definitely a topic of interest. We have a lot of entrepreneurs that are here on the call with us. Some founders themselves of different organizations. Great, and some people just wanting to find out more about Cocktails and Conversations in general. That's fantastic. We have some other professors that are interested in corporate entrepreneurship, or I think this is intrapreneurship. And John, I'm wondering if that is different than entrepreneurship. So I think we will find out tonight. Some people looking for a career change. Topic of interest. Good. We've got some more people putting in where they're from. We've got Oregon on here. We've got California on here, a first timer, great. We've got some Chicago folks, Northwest Indiana. Great. Oh, and we have We have someone interested because they heard about the Purdue Alumni Entrepreneurship Network, which is fantastic. That's one of our newer affinity networks that recently launched. And for all of you entrepreneurs who are coming to the game, the Northwestern game on the 19th, we are going to be having a tailgate for entrepreneurs. So if you're interested in entrepreneurship and you want to network with some other Boilermaker entrepreneurs, this network is just kicking off. And we do have a tailgate 2 hours prior to the game, which still has not been announced. So as soon as they announce that, it will be 2 hours prior to kickoff. And it's going to be in conjunction with President's Council. So that is located just catty corner from the stadium. We would love to see all of you there. You can find out more about that on our events page at purdueforlife.org. Click on events and you will see that tailgate there for the entrepreneurship tailgate. All right. Well, we are about 5 after, so I am going to go ahead and get us started. So just welcome to everyone. Want to extend a warm welcome coast to coast for everyone who's interested in Purdue Women's Network and Cocktails and Conversations. My name is Jillian Henry, and I am the Vice President of Engagement. And affinity networks are one of the ways that we help people stay connected, get involved, and give back. And so I wanted to just tell you really briefly a little bit about Purdue for Life. And for those of you who are new to Cocktails and Conversations and the Purdue Women's Network, this is a little bit about us. So the Purdue for Life Foundation combines the Purdue Alumni Association, University Development Offices, and John Purdue Club. We merged about a year and a half ago into Purdue for Life. And our mission is simple. We help people who love Purdue, be it friends, fans, or alumni, to stay connected, get involved, and give back. And we do that with our team here. My team happens to be, Stephanie is on our team. She's one of the other people that you see on here. One of the things that we do is we help people to do these 3 things about connecting, engaging, and giving back through these 6 areas. So we've got our alumni clubs. Those are all over the United States. We have more than 80 alumni clubs in different geographic locations. We also have affinity networks. We also have our international networks all over the world in a travel program. We have student programs for our students here on campus, volunteerism, and then also lifelong learning. So those are all part of our team. But you're here tonight because you're interested in one of our affinity networks, which happens to be the Purdue Women's Network. And the purpose of the Purdue Women's Network is to advance the pursuits of women really at any stage of their life through meaningful engagement, impactful mentorship, and philanthropic efforts. So thank you again so much for being here tonight. This is one of our monthly Cocktails and Conversations. We meet each month featuring different faculty from Purdue and or alumni from Purdue, where there's a topic of interest and we want to bring that to you and talk a little bit about how you can learn more. And then we always close up our session with some Q&A and then a reminder of what's coming next. So we have more to come about some things coming up with Purdue Women's Network, but I want to go ahead and jump in and welcome our speaker for tonight. So a welcome again, and thank you to everyone that is attending. We are featuring Nathalie Duval-Couetil tonight, and she is going to be talking to us more about entrepreneurship. I also want to recognize, before we jump into our speaker, want to recognize Stephanie Bonebrake, also with the Purdue for Life Foundation. Stephanie is going to be doing our back of the house recording and moderating behind the scenes. So thanks so much, Stephanie. So that being said, let's jump into our speaker. So Nathalie Duval-Couetil is the director of the Certificate in Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, an associate director of the Burton D Morgan Center, and a professor in the Department of Technology, Leadership, and Innovation at Purdue University. The presentation that she is going to be giving to us tonight is Catalyzing Entrepreneurial Ventures and Careers. Nathalie, we are thrilled to have you with us. Thank you so much for all of your time and sharing your expertise with us. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. And thanks to Jillian and Stephanie, and also Maria Whipple, who invited me here tonight. And we'll get started. Okay. All right. Let me see. All right. Everybody, are we good here? Everyone can see the main screen.
Yes.
All right, so tonight I'm going to talk primarily about some of our undergraduate programming here at Purdue, but it's only a small part of what we do. We also do graduate entrepreneurship classes, and I'd be happy to talk about those things in the Q&A. So I thought I'd start out with my path. When I talk to women, I like to talk about my career path. And I'll talk about the Entrepreneurship Education Program, a little bit about gender and entrepreneurship, and I'll give you some examples of our entrepreneurial alumni. Thought I'd have a nice looking fall cocktail here. Unfortunately, I am still in my office because I just finished teaching, but hopefully you're having one of these. So my background, as Jillian just said, I am the founding director and was responsible for the launch of the Certificate in Entrepreneurship and Innovation. Also serve as the associate director for the Entrepreneurship Center, and am a faculty member. I have my PhD and master's degree from Purdue, but an MBA from Babson College and went to UMass Amherst. And my background is primarily in management consulting and market research. I also worked at an incubator in Boston many years ago called the 128 Entrepreneur Center. And having gone to Babson, that's some of my, I guess, where the entrepreneurial interest started. So they talk a lot about career on ramps and off ramps for women. And when I'm speaking to young women in particular, I like to talk about this because when they're 20, they're very worried about having this very linear career and planning things out. And I'm a prime example of not doing that at all and really not having, kind of knowing the type of life I wanted, but not exactly what path would get me there. So I tend to show, all the different roles that women have. And I've had several off ramps. I moved to Europe to work in management consulting, met a husband from there, moved back here, had kids, took time off to raise the kids, also had worked full time prior to that with a child, did another master's, my PhD while raising those children, doing some freelancing, and really went back full time in 2005. So I just tell young women, you have to always do something. You might not know where to lead, but always do something. So why are we talking about entrepreneurship? Number one, I think today's employers really want entrepreneurial graduates. When we started this program, people thought, oh gosh, employers won't want a student that is interested in entrepreneurship because that student will just leave and start a company. But what we found is some of our most entrepreneurial students are getting incredible offers, and somehow those companies are keeping those alums, interested and motivated, and they're even staying in those companies. But companies nowadays want students who understand technology, who are critical thinkers, problem solvers, those who are able to advocate for their ideas, communicate, lead teams, participate in teams, collaborate. We want them to be creative and innovative. We want them to understand data and also understand diversity and inclusivity. And to some degree, maybe preparing them for jobs that don't exist yet. And even somebody expressed interest in entrepreneurship or teaches entrepreneurship. And even though many of our students our graduates are going into big companies, there's a lot of, you have to be very entrepreneurial in these big companies as well nowadays. I mean, things change very quickly. Even if you look at statistics, the average person changes jobs 12 times in their lifetime. And often you make those changes earlier in your career. But even if you look at between the ages of 35 to 44, 26% of those in a job, it ended in less than a year, and 61% in fewer than 5 years. So you can sum it up by saying today, people need to be innovative, adaptive, resilient, and flexible to navigate this ever-changing labor market. And I think the past few years have really shown that, given the COVID pandemic, and even just the economic changes in the past couple of months. just looking at the stock market and the layoffs and things that probably a year ago we didn't think would happen. So some of the benefits of being entrepreneurial or being an entrepreneur, to some degree, you have some control over where you live and where you work. You know, even in big companies now, you may not control where you can stay or where you work. So it gives you some agency. To some degree, it gives you some choice of with whom you work. It's definitely gives you the opportunity to constantly grow and develop and obviously create a positive impact. So the program I'm going to talk about is the Certificate in Entrepreneurship and Innovation. And it's a cross-campus program that was conceived when Discovery Park was conceived and Dr. Martin Jischke was president. And the value of entrepreneurship education at Purdue was really viewed as being able to add value to any major. So instead of, you know, you can't really be an entrepreneur of entrepreneurship. So instead of, you know, you can't really be an entrepreneur of entrepreneurship. But you can, if you're an accountant, you can be an entrepreneur. If you're an engineer, if you're an accountant, you can be an entrepreneur. If you're an engineer. Does someone have their speak? Does someone have their? I'm hearing some feedback. Yeah. Or is it just me? All right, I'll keep going. Yes, so the value of entrepreneurship is really to complement every student's major, and what we like to say is turbocharge their Purdue degree by giving them the skills and understanding of business literacy, teach them how to identify opportunities, understand what the difference is between an idea, an actual business opportunity, and an actual business venture. A lot of what we do is also developing those leadership and communication skills, and hopefully, as I said, adding value to any major. So it's very similar to a minor. We offer about 50 entrepreneurship courses per year, 25, probably 23 to 25 a semester, and we offer summer classes as well. We have approximately 2,000 students from about 170 majors enrolled in any given year. That makes us among one of the largest programs in the country. The vision was really that this be a cross-campus program and not owned by any one college or department, and it's administered through the Office of the Provost, and that was very leading edge, and I have to say many universities have since kind of copied this model. And it's really a very experiential program and considered to be high impact pedagogy and Purdue's roadmap for engineering, for undergraduate education. And our impact, we've won several awards, including the Model Entrepreneurship Program Award by the United States Association of Small Business and Entrepreneurship in 2020, Top 5 Program Award from the Global Consortium of Entrepreneurship Centers, and an Excellence in Curriculum Innovation Award. And we have been ranked in the Princeton Review since 2020, and we have moved up 21 slots since 2020. And this is still embargoed information and not public information yet, but we're very happy that we went up about 11 points this year. So our objectives, we have students who enter this program with all kinds of goals. Some have ideas. Some just know that they want to be an entrepreneur in the future. Some come from entrepreneurial families or have had some experience in high school that leads them to us. And our overarching goals are really to teach them that process of assessing new venture opportunities. So as I said, you know, what's the difference between an idea and a business opportunity? And what's the difference and what steps do you have to take to go from a business opportunity to a viable business venture? We're giving them all the fundamental knowledge and skills related to this. And as I said, helping them develop those leadership and communication skills through pitching and presenting quite a bit. And hopefully what we're doing is enhancing their job prospects and choices and giving them, as I say below, transferable skills for work and life. So we've had to create a very flexible program because we are dealing with students with very, in some cases, very kind of rigid academic programs. So we've tried to align the entrepreneurship program with many courses on campus. And so it's fairly seamless if they start early enough to weave this into their programs. They also receive a diploma-like certificate when they complete, and it's in the kind of graduation, the book at graduation. So they get two for one in terms of things that look like diplomas. So in the fundamentals courses, we have tried to put as much of the concepts and knowledge. So I won't read them all, but you can see it's kind of all the fundamental knowledge, literacy that you need about entrepreneurship. And we've pushed those into those first two classes, hoping that they'll take that knowledge to the other classes that are on the approved course list to complete the program. We've created 3 capstone courses that align with student interests. These are really very hands-on, and we try to engage as many people from the community as possible. So the first one listed is for students who say, I want to have an entrepreneurial career, or I want to be an entrepreneur someday, but not right away. So it really focuses on how to be an entrepreneur or how to work in a family business or established organization. It's all about kind of developing an entrepreneurial personal brand and developing networks and things like that. We have a consulting for emerging enterprises course, and that we limit to 16 students per semester. They work on 4 projects with community partners. These are typically small businesses or nonprofits, and they learn how to be consultants. So they learn how to scope jobs, manage clients, create deliverables, billing, things like that. But they also half time are working directly with the client. And we have a venture planning studio class. This is a more classic, I want to get this startup off the ground. So they work on advancing their business ideas. And we bring in probably somewhere between, I would say, 50 to 100 people a semester in terms of mentors or speakers or judges. So we have a lot of interaction with the outside community. We also have an entrepreneurship living and learning community. If you know any young high school students who are interested in entrepreneurship, they can come to Purdue as a freshman and take our first course as a cohort and live with other students in a dorm who are very interested in entrepreneurship. And this is one of the longest running living and learning communities at Purdue. And we've had some amazing students go through that, and it really can create lifelong friendships. Over the years, we've tried to kind of innovate or respond to trends in entrepreneurship or what students are interested in. And one example is creating a social entrepreneurship class. And we're very fortunate to have an instructor, Dora Lutz, who specializes in this. And so that's been a popular course, and students can choose to take our second core course, can choose this as a second core course, so focusing on social ventures. We also have, when online was starting, we started, at that time, we thought we were very innovative. We started a 1-credit online professional development kind of internship and career preparation course. And it's focused on kind of using, entrepreneurship competencies in advancing their professional development. So students go through a number of modules and they improve their LinkedIn profiles. They have to reach out to people to judge their CVs and just a lot of the basic kinds of things. But it has proved to be very useful for many students. So some of our outcomes, we have, when we look at our exit data, I've always done a lot of surveying since the beginning. 4 out of 5 students expect to be involved in a startup in the future. As I said, we have students working on things now, but also, if you look at the average age of entrepreneurs, it's typically in their 40s. So a lot of what we're doing is planting seeds for a lot of students. Also, many students, they want to go out and many of them, especially we're at a STEM school, can go and make some nice salaries right now. So the opportunity cost for entrepreneurship while they're, just getting out of college can be kind of high. But we've had great reviews on the opportunity to work with students from different majors. So this comment, I love sitting in a multidisciplinary classroom with a diverse group of students. When we started, we weren't sure if students would like that much, or, you know, if that was interesting to them. But if you look in some majors, some students don't get the opportunity to work with students in other majors. They may sit in a big lecture with students in other majors, but not really work on projects. And that really has been a fabulous outcome. And we have all practicing entrepreneurs who are our instructors. So they all have real world experience. So I think students really appreciate the usefulness and the real world examples. And it's refreshing to many of them to be able to get that contact with kind of the entrepreneurial world in a very immediate way. So women in entrepreneurship. So in the program, we've been very conscious about making sure that this program is viewed as being accessible and very friendly to diverse populations. It kind of all happened because I had an anecdote from an instructor that there were only 7 women in one of his classes, and this is many years ago, and he said that one woman came up to him and said, "I just don't feel comfortable speaking in this class because there are so few women." So after that, we embarked on kind of a campaign for about a year, and we developed a women in leadership class. And Rebecca Dorman, who was supposed to be on this call tonight but who couldn't make it, was a grad student working with me at the time, and she really took the lead on that and started that course in 2008, which I think it was the first gender and leadership course of any kind on campus. I also had a couple of hypotheses. One, and which is very common, women don't see themselves as entrepreneurs, or the other hypothesis was that maybe academic advisors were steering more men to the program than women. So that year we started the course. I started talking about this at every presentation I gave on campus. We sent mailings to academic advisors to tell them that women should learn about entrepreneurship too. And in 1 year, we were able to go from 24 to 34%. And we continue that course every spring. And we also have supported a lot of events. We also recently received a grant to do more in this area, more programming in diversity and highlighting diverse types of entrepreneurs and different types of entrepreneurship. So if anybody is interested in that, feel free to reach out to me. So why is this important? Obviously, you know, we're kind of always fighting these kind of masculine master narratives that surround entrepreneurship. And it's masculine, but it's also often very mythological, right? Talking about people as ferocious competitors and heroes and things like that. So this led another grad student and I, Mandy Whedon, who could possibly be on this call, to do some work a few years ago when she was working on her PhD, and the whole thing focused on gender and entrepreneurship. So we wrote several articles, and I continue this gender work as part of the National Science Foundation's I-Corps program, which is a program focused on getting more graduate student and faculty researchers involved in entrepreneurship. So we've been looking at some of the gender and diversity issues in that area as well. And I do other research in entrepreneurship education and other areas, but gender, because of these grad students who really drove it, has been fabulous. So I'll just talk about one study that Mandy did, and it was looking at the first season of Shark Tank. And she was looking at it through the lens of gender, but we were also looking at how the media kind of propagates these stereotypes. But in studying that first season, she found that men were portrayed as wanting to launch 95% of the tech ventures that were on the show. They asked for more investment. They negotiated more. And when they were filmed in their backstories, they were often portrayed as providing for their families. And some of these are very, very well-known things, and it was just reinforced with this study, for instance, that men asked for more money. And then the women were pitching more the gendered products. So, fashion, family types of things. Interestingly, 3/4 of them were filmed in their kitchens. They were also filmed asking for advice from their husbands, and they were portrayed as wishing to be home and earning some extra money as opposed to the men who were portrayed as providing for their families. So all this to say, I'm really shortening a body of work, but there are huge disparities. We have a lot of women participating in entrepreneurship and small business entrepreneurship, but if you look at the high growth entrepreneurship, their participation is very low. So these are companies with big numbers of employees or those that have to raise a lot of capital. And these numbers are from a couple of years ago, and they may have shifted a little bit. Maybe women partners at VC firms might be a little higher. We were looking at all this this week, but the numbers are still very low. So just to conclude some of these points. So, entrepreneurship can be a main gig from what we've seen from our alum. It can be a side hustle, but it can also be a tool set, a mindset set, and a skill set. I think the education piece is really an efficient way for students to learn how to generate economic and social value from their knowledge. Oftentimes, if students have never had to go and do market research or they've never had to pitch anything or create a value proposition, they can go into a company and really not understand the business side of it and what their role in that company means and what piece of that value generation process they're a part of. As I said, the skills and the mindset are very highly desired by employers today. A lot of our students are getting very good positions, and they're also very needed in society. We need entrepreneurial people in every walk of life. And entrepreneurship is extremely well suited for experiential learning, which is a very big goal of higher education institutions like Purdue. And as I said, it really offers the opportunity for engagement with stakeholders. So those can be entrepreneurs in the community, alumni, just all types of stakeholders here. And it's a great way to bring people in and great way to create connections with mentors and a lot of valuable resources for students as well. So I like to say that what we do is a lot of it's inspiration in addition to the education. And because of the experiential learning aspect, it's a lot of application as well. And Purdue is really a great place to explore it. If you're all here, you're probably reading the Purdue News quite regularly, and you know that we're very well ranked in terms of patents and ranked number 5 as the most innovative university in America. We have, they've just announced a new reimagined School of Business. We're lucky to have facilities that are shared by the entire campus, like the Burton Center for Entrepreneurship. We have the John Martinson Entrepreneurial Center in Engineering. We've got the Discovery Park District, which, if you haven't been to campus, is just a whole extension of Purdue on the west side. And we have entities like Dial Ventures, which is looking to create entrepreneurial ventures in the agriculture area. So those are the highlights. Please contact me, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to talk to you, and I will stop sharing.
Nathalie, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about this program and some of the successes that have come out of it. We do have several questions, so I'm going to jump in. Can you define, I think we know because several of us have been Googling this, but can you define the difference between intrapreneurship and entrepreneurship?
So intrapreneurship is just being entrepreneurial in a larger organization. So, right, it's not starting something new, but, starting kind of anything, not anything, but, starting new, generating value, creating new programs, launching new products, whatever it might be, but kind of taking those ideas to fruition.
Great. Inside an
existing organization.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then, so I've also seen several comments of I wish that I would have had this when I was at Purdue. What do you recommend for women who are looking to become entrepreneurs now? What resources would you point them to in terms of, hey, I need some help with this. I was, they didn't offer this when I was in school. What resources do you have for us?
Yeah, we hear that a lot from the parents of students who are visiting Purdue when we're at recruiting fairs, right? Because they drag their child over and they said, I wish I had this. But I mean, there are so many resources out there for entrepreneurs, but I would say there are, the SBA funds like the SBDC, right? The Small Business Development Center that has a lot of resources. I mean, if you're looking for market research through there, you can get a lot of market research resources. Let's see. There are tons of kind of networking and incubator kind of, what am I looking for? The co-working spaces, things like that. And there'll be a lot of programming in those co-working spaces. Let's see. There are mentors through the SBA, through SCORE. I mean, I'm talking about free things right now. But really online, it depends what stage you're at, right? I mean, if you're just trying to vet your ideas and see if they're viable, I would say there are a lot of books, the books I showed, there are a lot of resources, there are a lot of online resources for those types of things. But universities near you probably have speakers coming in and a lot of workshops. For instance, the National Science Foundation, I-Corps, does a lot of things in technology entrepreneurship. So if you can connect to one of the I-Corps hubs, there's all types of programming, there's opportunities to be mentors. They're dying for mentors to work on tech entrepreneurship, technology commercialization projects emerging from universities. Yeah, those are some examples. I mean, you can also take a course, take a course, community colleges, universities, depending where you are.
Great.
I mean,
Thank you.
if somebody's dying to take a course, we offer online summer courses. So, but what we've found is adults really don't want to spend, that kind of money for kind of typical 3-credit class. So, but for instance, the Matchbox here, which is our co-working space, was just pitching, wanting us to sign people up for I can't remember if it was 5 or 10 week program. So just look around the community.
Great, thank you, thank you. We have a question from Anne Marie. A common practice at other universities is to incorporate some industry expert mentors as part of their entrepreneurship program of startup acceleration programs. Is Purdue considering building a mentor program with this?
Yeah, I mean, Purdue does have, if it's technology commercialization and helping get some of the technology out of Purdue, there's definitely a kind of database of mentors that the Purdue Research Foundation has been building over the years. And if somebody wants to contact me, I can definitely put you in touch. It's our alums from the certificate program that started that alumni network, which is fabulous that they did that. We have a lot of mentors and that we kind of informally organize throughout the program. But we haven't done the Entrepreneur in Residence as part of the academic program, only because I have seen a lot of these programs and the poor academic, the Entrepreneur in Residence just ends up sitting in an office and nobody ends up visiting them in the hours that they're available. So I rather do it in an on-demand kind of way. We have enough of a network. If I have a student who needs an attorney, needs whatever, we can connect them. So instead of, having them sit in an office. So,
Right.
I mean,
Great.
one
Thank
challenge,
you.
and one challenge is post-COVID, it's even harder to get students to kind of come to those in-person things. So it would be difficult to start that right now.
Our next question is from Lori, and she's wondering, is the certificate accredited by any external organization? And if so, which one?
No, there's no accreditation for these types of programs, minor-like programs necessarily. But I mean, we've won the national awards, so I think we're doing okay. So
Excellent. And from Teresa, she started her business 17 years ago and is saying, how can I get involved? So I'll take that first, but then I want to turn it over to Natalie. I would say, Teresa, hello. I think we passed paths in a former life with United Way and some other things. So good to see you on here. I didn't know we were both Purdue alums. But one of the ways that you can get involved is by joining this new entrepreneurship network. You don't have to have gone through the certificate program to join this. This is really open to any entrepreneur and really is providing a way to connect with other entrepreneurs. So there is going to be more information. Stephanie, if you could put a link to the Purdue Alumni Entrepreneurship Network in the chat. And then, like I said, we will be doing one of our kickoff events on November 19th. And so, Natalie, what other things can someone get involved with as an alumni?
well, we are offering our Women in Leadership class in the spring. So if you want to speak in that class, definitely get in touch with me and I will connect you. Yeah, I mean, in the short term, that would be great, but just get in touch with me and we'll figure out what kinds of things. We are always having speakers and judges in all of our classes. So that's also a great opportunity. So I can push your name out to all our instructors for end of semester judging too. And in those capstone classes, there are lots of opportunities to speak as well, depending on what the topic is. The challenge is our instructors are all entrepreneurs and very entrepreneurial, and they have incredible networks. So, you know, oftentimes they're not even asking me. So I have to, if somebody's interesting, I'll push the word out.
Great, thank you. As someone wanting to be an entrepreneur, this is from Caitlin. Are there any tools that you know of to help with the ideation process?
Sure. Like that book, even that book that I showed, which is the Disciplined Entrepreneurship, there's kind of a workbook, which kind of forces you to think through the idea. I think talking to people is probably very valuable. Talk to everybody that you know, ask them what they think of the idea, talk to people who could potentially be interested in your idea. Because sometimes you can carry around an idea for a long time and then you start talking to somebody and you realize, oh yeah, that's not going to work. So it's better to get that information from potential customers early. So yeah, talk to people. And like I said, try to find a workshop in a co-working space or something that might have people who are trained to kind of poke at your ideas. Or I'm happy to talk to you on the phone too, or by Zoom, or connect you with somebody.
Excellent. Well, do we have any other questions? I know there are some great comments in the chat of how other people are connecting, but does anyone else have any questions? And if so, we can put those in the chat. While we wait for that, Natalie, I noticed that one of the ideas that came out of this entrepreneurship class was LEAP. And that happened to be with two alums of two very different generations, Chris Taylor and Katie McNamee.
Yes.
And now they help to help people who are wanting to become consultants as entrepreneurs, right?
Exactly. Yep. Yes, I just spoke with them last week, and I actually just connected Katie to a woman entrepreneur in Indianapolis, who may be on this call, to connect because she also does social media as well. So yeah, we're able, just because of the networks of people, we've actually even created ventures through the instructors. When I was teaching one of our capstone classes, I would bring in speakers and they would meet kind of, and we created this little group and they've even done ventures together. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's been really interesting for us as we put together the Entrepreneurship Affinity Network, the passion that has really come out of this, of so many people who've gone through your certificate program and just, they want to continue that energy beyond. And so I just think, you know, what you've instilled in some of these alums now is helping them throughout their lifetime. And we're seeing them want to give back to Purdue through these networks. So thank you for everything that you've done. I know that we're going to see some amazing things come out of these alumni and even the students that are there today and what they're coming up with. It's really just incredible.
Yeah. And like I said, I was talking about the undergraduate program, but we also have, tonight before I was here, we also have a graduate class called Life of a Faculty Entrepreneur, Discovery, Development, and Translation, where we teach PhD graduate students everything they need to know before they get into technology commercialization, which could be very complicated. So, 5-10 years ago, they'd go directly to the tech transfer office, not understand anything about this process. So hopefully we're equipping them with that information before they get into it and before they make decisions or have other people make decisions for them. There's also, like I said, the National Science Foundation I-Corps program, and the philosophy behind that, is that the government is spending, billions of dollars on basic research, and we really should be looking at the commercial potential of that research. And so they give grants to faculty to explore, do customer development or primary market research, and do interviews with potential customers on those technologies. And that's a very vibrant program. And as I said, there's opportunities for mentors to get involved in that as well. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we will still look for a few questions that are coming in, but while we wait, I just want to let everyone know about the next upcoming cocktails and conversations. Steph is already on the ball and she has put that into the chat. It's going to be with our next chief of police, who is a woman, Leslie White. So I believe she is the first female chief of police on Purdue's campus. So we'll get to hear from her that's going to be on December 7th, also at 7 o'clock. And then in January, we are having Professor Catherine Siegfried-Speller talk about cyber deviance. So come and learn about cyber deviance. Also, if you are starting to already get cold and think about the warm weather, you can think about joining us down in Naples, Florida, where we have programming and are featuring some programming specifically for Purdue Women's Network. So be on the lookout for what we're doing in Naples if you want to get down to Florida. That is going to be in the second full week of February, starting on February 9th. And then, of course, we want you to already go ahead and mark your calendars for our next Purdue Women's Conference, which is going to be on campus. First time we've ever been on campus for the Purdue Women's Conference. That's going to be June 8th and 9th of next year. So thanks again, Steph, for putting those in there. We will be, again, we've recorded this session, so we are going to make this available to everyone so that you've got this and you can share that. And we are always looking for other ideas and programming ideas that you want to see for our Purdue Women's Network. So please join me in thanking Nathalie again with all of your virtual claps. Nathalie, this has been a great session. Thank you so much. We look forward to hearing more good things about the entrepreneurship program. And I want to thank all of you for attending with us here today. Have a great evening and enjoy those cocktails.
Thank you very much. And please connect.
I know we still have a few folks that are on. If you had a specific question for Nathalie, you can go ahead and come off mute in this smaller environment if you had any other specific questions for Nathalie. All right. Well, thanks again for joining us, ladies. That is all we have for tonight. Have a great evening.
Okay.
I didn't think they were going to leave. I started kicking them out.
All right. Hopefully that was okay. Was that?
It was great.
Okay.
Yeah, it was great. Yes. And
Yeah.
this was a perfect segue into, letting us to be able to share about our new network. And
Yeah.
I love how you put the examples of the folks that were up there too.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
I didn't want to be reading the slides, so I didn't go into too much detail, but I wanted to give them a sense. But I don't want to put that in the video just because I don't want to put the students in,
Yeah, we'll get that edited out.
But okay. Yeah, hopefully